The dry harmattan winds carried not just dust, but whispers into Omokoro village. Whispers of a woman, a vision of charcoal skin and eyes like polished obsidian, who had arrived with the setting sun. Her name was Moremi, and she carried herself with an air of quiet dignity, her vibrant wrapper a splash of color against the parched earth. She spoke little, but her gaze was knowing, as if she held secrets older than the baobab trees that dotted the landscape. The women of Omokoro, initially curious, soon grew wary. Marimi's beauty was undeniable, a dangerous allure that drew the attention of every man, married or not. Her laughter, when it came, was like the chime of rare cowrie shells, and her movements were as graceful as a gazelle. She seemed to possess an aura that made the ordinary world around her fade into insignificance. She chose to settle in a small, well-kept compound on the outskirts of the village, far enough to maintain a degree of privacy, yet close enough to be a constant topic of conversation. The mud walls of her new home seemed to hum with an unspoken energy, reflecting the mystique that now surrounded her. Her presence was a stone dropped into the compound of Omokoro, sending ripples of speculation across its surface. Many men, emboldened by palm wine or sheer audacity, attempted to court her. Farmers, traders, even the village chief's younger brother, presented kola nuts and promises of lavish living. Moremi, however, received them all with a polite smile, her rejection firm yet gentle, leaving them bewildered but not offended. It was as if she sought something beyond their understanding. The elders, with their wisdom etched onto their faces like ancient proverbs, spoke of caution. A flower too beautiful, Boba Sigan, the oldest among them, had worn during an evening gathering, often hides thorns. But the young men, captivated by Marimi's enigma, paid little heed to the warnings, their hearts already ensnared by her unspoken promise. Among Marimi's many admirers, one man stood out. Adewale, a skilled hunter with a spirit as untamed as the savannah, possessed a fierce determination that mirrored Marimi's own quiet strength. Unlike the others, he did not shower her with grand gestures but instead offered her rare herbs from the forest and shared stories of his encounters with wild animals, his voice a low rumble. Moremi found herself drawn to his raw honesty, his lack of pretense. He saw beyond her beauty, or so she believed, and into the depths of her soul. Their conversations by the flickering lamplight of her compound became longer, more intimate, touching upon dreams, fears, and the yearning for a life beyond the ordinary rhythm of the village. One starless night, under the cover of the velvet sky, Moremi confessed a secret to Adewale. Her voice was barely a whisper, carried on the breeze. She spoke of a past shrouded in ambiguity, of being a wanderer, of having no family, no true home. Adewale, touched by her vulnerability, vowed to be her family, her home. He saw it as a testament to their growing bond. He proposed marriage, not with the usual fanfare, but with a simple, heartfelt plea for her hand, promising her a love as enduring as the Iroko tree. Moremi, her eyes shining with unshed tears, accepted. The village buzzed with the news, a mix of excitement and simmering resentment from the other spurned suitors. However, a faint flicker of unease remained in Marimi's heart, a shadow she couldn't quite articulate. Adewale's love was a bright flame, but it also felt like a trap, a cage of affection she wasn't sure she was ready to inhabit fully. The whispers in her mind, though faint, hinted at a different truth, a deeper secret she still held tightly. The wedding preparations in Omokoro were unlike any seen before. Adewale, usually frugal, spared no expense. Goats were slaughtered, gallons of palm wine flowed freely, and drummers from neighboring villages were invited to create a symphony of celebration. The air hummed with anticipation, a vibrant tapestry of colors, sounds, and joyous laughter. Moremi, adorned in intricate beads and a wrapper of rich indigo, was a breathtaking sight. Her smile, though radiant, held a subtle melancholia, a fleeting shadow that only the most observant might catch. She moved through the festivities like a queen, accepting well wishes and blessings, her heart a tangled knot of emotions. As the elder women braided her hair with cowrie shells, they spoke of the responsibilities of marriage, of children, of becoming one with the lineage. Moemi listened, her gaze distant, as if she were a spectator in her own grand performance, playing a role she had rehearsed countless times before. Adewale, beaming with pride, presented her to his family and the entire village. He declared his love for her, his voice booming with happiness. The community embraced Moemi, welcoming her into the fold, believing they had finally tamed the enigmatic beauty who had arrived with the harmattan. But as the final drumbeat faded into the night and the stars emerged, a shiver ran down Moemi's spine. The weight of her new identity, of being Adewale's wife, felt heavier than the most elaborate jewelry. A sense of foreboding, faint yet persistent, began to cloud the joy of the day. Adewale was a man transformed by love. His hunting prowess seemed to intensify, as if spurred on by a desire to provide even more lavishly for Moemi. He brought home the largest game, the finest hides, presenting them to her with a possessive pride that bordered on arrogance. He wanted to be the best, for her. He often spoke of their future, of the many children they would have, of the legacy they would build together in Omokoro. His words painted a picture of domestic bliss, a life rooted in the traditions of the village. Moemi listened, her smile fixed, her eyes betraying a hint of unease. His love, once a gentle warmth, began to feel like a suffocating blanket. He became increasingly protective, questioning her outings, scrutinizing her interactions with other men, even the village elders. His devotion, though seemingly pure, was slowly transforming into a jealous grip. Moemi found herself longing for the solitude she once cherished, the freedom of her own thoughts. The vibrant community that had once welcomed her now felt like 1,000 prying eyes, each one a silent judge of her every move. The joy of her marriage was being eclipsed by a growing sense of entrapment. One evening, as Adewale recounted his day's hunt with boisterous enthusiasm, Moemi felt a sudden, desperate urge to flee, to shed the skin of Adewale's wife and simply be Moemi again. The thought was fleeting, a dangerous spark, but it ignited a forgotten fire within her. The vibrant energy that had once surrounded Moemi began to wane. Her laughter became less frequent, her radiant smile replaced by a polite, almost practiced, curve of her lips. The sparkle in her obsidian eyes dimmed, replaced by a quiet, contemplative sadness that she tried to hide. The women of Omokoro, initially envious, now observed her with a knowing pity. They whispered about the pressures of marriage, the demands of a husband, the fading of a woman's youthful spirit. They attributed her change to the natural progression of life, unaware of the deeper currents beneath the surface. Adewale, blinded by his own happiness and perhaps a touch of possessiveness, failed to notice the subtle shift in his wife. He interpreted her quietness as contentment, her less frequent outings as a sign of her devotion to their home. He believed he had given her everything she could possibly desire. Moemi, however, felt an increasing weight on her soul. The village, once a place of new beginnings, now felt like a prison, its invisible walls closing in around her. The expectations placed upon her, the role she was expected to play, were slowly suffocating the very essence of who she was. She spent hours by the river, watching the water flow, yearning for its boundless freedom. The ancient trees seemed to mirror her quiet despair, their branches reaching towards a sky that offered no escape. The myth of Moemi, the woman with secrets, was slowly being replaced by the silent tragedy of a woman fading away.